The final functional group that we're going to look at is the amine. The amine group is going to have a nitrogen in multiple configurations. Because nitrogen has these three possible bonds it could take, it could be connected to up to 3 carbon chains. That sounds very complex, but it's actually going to be fairly simple to name. The amine group is either going to connect to carbon chains or it's going to connect to a hydrogen. And so when we name it, we're going to name it very similarly to when we named alcohols. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon chains here. And just like an alcohol, it's just the terminating end. So I've got bute and amine. Butanamine. There we go. My suffix here is just amine. That's it. Before we move on, let's look at the priority. The priority of the amine falls in at number 6. It does not have a very high priority. Its suffix, we already saw, was just going to be amine. And its prefix is amino. And if we draw it out, just now, because this nitrogen is able to make 3 separate bonds or just terminate with a hydrogen, we have the options of a primary, a secondary, or a tertiary amine group. So we're going to look at each type here. We've already named the primary chain. This is just butanamine. The secondary one, we're going to name it very similarly. However, notice my alcohol has a higher priority, so I'm going to name that alcohol. So this right here is my carbon number 1, by 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to have a butanol with an amine group. I'm going to name this amino. So this is at the number 1 carbon, so this will be 1 amino. And then I've got this 1, 2 carbon chain coming off of the amine group. Well, that 2 carbon chain, that'll be an ethyl. And to identify that it's coming off of the amino, I just do a dash N. So that tells me it's at the amino group. So in order to put this together, I'm going to go alphabetical order again. 1 amino, N ethyl, butanol. There we go. Now for a tertiary amine group, it's going to work exactly the same way. Now here I've got a ketone, so once again, this is going to be a lower priority. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If the ketone was over here, I would number from left to right. So I've got ketone, 5 carbons. That's going to be pent, one. Pent and one. 2. Pent and 2 one. Okay? Then I've got an amino group at the number 1. So 1 amino. And then I've got a 1, 2 carbon chain and a 1, 2, 3 carbon chain. So this will be an ethyl, the N, and another N, and it'll be N-propyl. Just like that. So when I put all of this together, let me just divide this up here. So I'm going to go in alphabetical order. I've got 1 amino, then N-ethyl, N-propyl, pentan-2-one. There we go. That's how we name our amine groups.